Welcome to the 30-second drill, the fastest growing NFL podcast in Melbourne Southeast, where I am jumping off a certain sinking ship that just sucks. And I'm so mad about how much that little crappy ship sucks. The ship is Mac Jones. We also like to dig our heels in about other things. And as a collective, we have a mutual disdain for Brendan Staley, even when the Chargers win. We are still the definitive source on all things Australia's team, the Detroit Lions. I'm here today with my friend and colleague, Shane Campbell. How you doing, Shane?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, thank you. How are you?
We have had better weeks in the NFL for me personally, I'll be honest.
I haven't. It's been sensational this week.
Well, we're going to kick off today as the way we always do with my overreaction of the week. So, Daniel Jones is done. The Giants are going to draft a quarterback. The Vikings are going nowhere fast. The Panthers have made a big mistake giving away so much draft capital for Young. Steelers need a real quarterback. Carson Palmer quit on the Bengals for them being a horrible organization, and it could happen again with Joe Burrow. And the Jets' performance was horrible for them for the rest of their season.
That was it?
That's it.
Not missing out on anything there?
No overreactions left.
Not mentioning Mac Jones' performance.
Not have an overreaction for Mac Jones. I have plenty to say about Mac Jones, but none of it is what I would now classify an overreaction.
Oh, I'm glad it's what you would now classify. Good. I'm glad you finally come around.
I have.
Good.
I am happy to wear the hat as the mayor of Wrongville.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
So we're kicking off this week with the Bears at the Commanders. The Bears are 0-4 after losing to the Broncos 31-28, and the Commanders are 2-2 after losing to the Eagles in overtime 34-31. I'll kick things off today with Fields played his best game, but it's still not enough. The question that must be asked at this time is, will Caleb Williams want to go to Chicago? As for the Commanders, they'll win this game, which will continue to bring into the question who and what is Sam Howell. That's all I have for those two teams.
I agree with what you said about Fields having the best game he's ever played. Definitely his best game as a passer. He's had a few good running games, but yeah, nothing as good as that. But they did blow a 21-point lead, so just makes you think: are they actually going to be able to win a game? This was probably their best chance going to have for quite a while. But they do have picks 1 and 2, so they get to ruin 2 guns next year. That's pretty exciting. Howe seemed to redeem himself after a horrific game against the Bills, and yeah, not much else about them. Taking the Commanders.
I am also taking the Commanders. Next up, we have the Jags facing the Bills in London. The Jags come off a win against the Falcons, 23-7, and the Bills come off a commanding performance against the Dolphins with a win at 43-20. Shane, over to you.
So Trevor Lawrence, he still doesn't look great, and he'll have to have his best game of the year to be able to beat the Bills. So let's see if the back-to-back games in London has any effect on the Jags. As far as the Bills go, I loved what I saw last week. Josh Allen playing probably the best QB in the league over the last 3 weeks. We're just going to ignore the first game for the sake of my argument. He accounted for 5 touchdowns against the Dolphins, and the Bills' defense is the best in the AFC for points allowed. I'm taking the Bills.
It does not surprise me in the slightest, everything you've said. The Jags are 2-2. They're not looking that great, and they need to improve. They're the team that I at least thought they were. I don't know why Ridley's only getting 2 targets, but anyway, with the Bills, I've seen this movie. I love how it ends, and I can't wait. They'll potentially take the number 1 seed and forget how to play defense, or Josh Allen will forget how to quarterback again. And it's going to be so awesome to watch because this is just what the Bills do. They love to win in September. They love to look great. And then halfway through the season, they forget how to play football. I'm taking the Jags. Now we're moving on to the Panthers at Australia's team, the Detroit Lions. The Panthers coming off another loss against the Vikings, 21-13, and the Lions coming off a commanding win where the scoreline doesn't really tell the story. They beat the Packers 34-20 in Green Bay. On the Panthers, it's bad, and it's only going to get worse for them. That's all I've got to say because no one cares. For the Lions, this is who's to come for the Lions. The Panthers, the Bucks, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Bears, the Packers, the Saints, the Bears, the Broncos, the Vikings, the Cowboys, the Vikings. That's a 14-3 season incoming. This is only the second time I am tipping the Detroit Lions for the year. If they lose, I promise to all Detroit Lions fans I will not tip them again.
Good. Don't want you tipping us anyway. Jumped off us week 1 against the Chiefs. Unforgivable. Shut up. The Panthers, bad team, bad offense. The offensive line gave up 5 sacks against the Vikings, so good luck to them this week against Australia's team. Now, as we all care about, Australia's team is up and firing. Absolutely manhandled the Packers in every single area possible on the game. Goff did enough, and he showed a lot of character bouncing back after that early interception on the first drive. And got nothing else to say. Australia's team up and about, gonna thump the Panthers, taking the Lions.
What a shock. Next up, we've got the Titans at the Colts. The Titans coming off a dominating victory against the Bengals 27-3, and the Colts losing to the Rams in overtime 29-23.
Right. Derrick Henry returned to form this week, and you'll need another big game against the Colts, I think, if they're going to stand a bit of a chance. Colts came back 23 points down just to blow it in overtime. Richardson is looking after the ball in the passing game, but he does need to clean up those fumbles. And once he fixes that, this team will look very scary. I am taking the Colts.
That's a fair call. I cannot get a read on the Titans. I still won't have one after this game. I don't know what they are, but I know they're well coached, which is always reassuring if you're a Tennessee fan. As for the Colts, they are an exciting team, and it's going to be a very interesting couple of years for them as Anthony Richardson develops. But I'm taking the Titans in this one because I can just see Vrabel putting in a coaching masterclass again. And next up, we have the Saints at the Patriots. The Saints coming off a loss against the Buccaneers, 26-9, and the Patriots coming off the worst loss of Bill Belichick's career, 38-3. Starting with the Saints, they have the 5th most sacked quarterback, and this team was never a sneaky 12-5. This is Derek Carr. Onto the Patriots. Mac Jones, you suck. I had faith in you due to getting drafted to a quality establishment. Out of all the quarterbacks in the draft, you were drafted to the best establishment, and you have absolutely stuffed this up. You're pathetic, and I'm done with your weak arm, pillowy balls. The Patriots, I'm not done. Timer, I am not done. The Patriots are irrelevant as long as that guy's in the building. They're going to have to draft a quarterback. And it pains me to say that while Bailey Zappi is probably a better option than Mac Jones, I think they should keep playing Mac Jones because it guarantees that we're going to finish worse off and be able to draft a better quarterback, because that guy, he sucks. He is literally like the poorest version of a home brand version of a quarterback that you could find. I'm taking the Saints. Get stuffed, Mac. Over to you, Shane.
I'm really glad you used the audible on that, because I was not going to speak about the Saints. I was just going to go Patriots for 30 seconds, but I can get a little bit of Saints in. They had less than 200 total yards on offense. The team is absolutely inept on offense. 2 fumbles. Jameis Winston had the glorious stat line of 1 attempt, 1 interception, and no wonder they stuck with Carr on a banged up shoulder. Now, that's enough of them. Patriots, what a fantastic Max Jones performance. He put up more touchdowns for the Cowboys than Dak did. He got benched for Zappi, and it will not be the last time. I said at the start of the year, he's like the 5th or 6th best QB in division. I'm not backing down from that. He started as the 4th best starter. I probably maybe the 3rd best because, Zach Wilson. But Zach Wilson redeemed himself. So I don't know where he's ended this week, but he's probably the 6th or 7th best QB in the AFC East. He's still counting Rodgers. Obviously, Allen, Tua. Zach Wilson has just jumped him. I know it was only one game, but that was hot. Zach Wilson that game is higher than Mac Jones could ever get. And now with Bailey Zappi's better than him too. So what does that put him 6th, 7th? I don't know. 10th. Doesn't matter. 7th. He's useless. Taking the Pats though.
We'll probably take Buffalo and Miami's back up above him, maybe put him in 8th. For anyone who is curious, at the end of the podcast, we're going to discuss a little in-house bet that Shane and I had relating to Mac Jones. So stay tuned to the end if you want to hear how stupid I am Anyway, we're moving on to the Ravens at the Steelers. The Ravens are coming off thumping the Browns 28-3, and the Steelers losing to the Texans 30-6. Go ahead, Shane.
Right. The Ravens absolutely demolished the Browns, who had the best defense entering last week. Lamar, 4 total touchdowns, 2 in the air, 2 on the ground. And if they get healthy at the wide receiver, they're going to cause some problems later in the year. The Steelers, they do need to draft a quarterback at the end of the year. Pickett has regressed massively from the end of the offseason. Can't always blame the play caller. I think one more poor performance from Pickett and it's Trubisky time in Pittsburgh. I'm just not ready to fully jump off him like Josh did with Mac Jones, but I'm taking the Ravens.
Sounds like you've been reading my notes. As for Lamar Jackson, his lowest completion percentage of the year has been 71%. He's only thrown 4 touchdowns and he's rushed 4. But I anticipate that this team is going to simply continue to get better and better as they grow. As for the Steelers, I can't believe you said that Kenny Pickett was the second best quarterback in division. I'm not going to sit here and be ridiculous and say that's the worst call ever. I've probably got about 15 worse than that. But at least I move on from my bad calls. I'm taking the Ravens, and the Steelers need a new quarterback.
I'm sure I said in the first episode he was looking to become the second best quarterback in division this year.
He was looking to try and hold his spot down. We're moving on to the Texans at the Falcons. The Texans, as we just said, smashed the Steelers 30-6, and the Falcons lost to the Jags 23-7 in London. Starting with the Texans, Stroud is sneaky good, probably better than sneaky good. He is balling out. As ignored by me and mentioned by you earlier, I should have paid attention. He's thrown the most touchdowns without an interception in the league, if you can follow that stat. And for the Falcons, Ridder is not the man long-term for the Falcons, but this game is one to watch. I am taking Stroud and the Texans.
I'm also going to take the Texans in this one. Stroud continues his amazing start to his career, 300 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, rookie of the year, and an absolute future star. Convinced, long future in the league. I'm more than comfortable saying he's the second best quarterback in the division right now. Falcons, absolutely inept. Another team that's going to look at draft a quarterback, as you said. Bijan Robinson playing against 7 in the box because they know they're not going to pass the ball, and he's still putting up 100 yards. Pitts has been extremely disappointing, and he needs to step up and live to his pre-draft hype. I'm taking the Texans to keep rolling, though.
Next up, we have the Giants at the Dolphins. The Giants coming off a loss to the Seahawks 24-3, and the Dolphins coming off a loss to the Bills 20-48. Over to you, Shane.
This is another team that's absolutely inept and will be looking to draft a quarterback. But the O-line did give up 11 sacks. So while Jones was absolutely horrendous, so was his offensive line. He just absolutely panics in the red zone. He's too expensive to cut after this season, but if you can get a good quarterback in this draft, might as well take him. Dolphins came absolutely crashing back to earth. Can't play the Broncos every week. Tua was sacked 4 times, which I'm pretty sure was the most out of every game combined. And McDermott has potentially shown the league how to slow down the Dolphins' offense. I will be taking the Dolphins.
So Daniel Jones has thrown 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, and he's been paid. So good luck to the Giants with that. As for the Dolphins, Tua didn't play his best, but that's because of how good the Bills' defense is in the regular season. They don't have a defense and they can't seem to stop teams unless they're no good. But the good news for the Dolphins is the Giants are no good. So the Dolphins are going to bounce back and they're going to roll the Giants with ease. Now moving on to the Bengals at the Cardinals. The Bengals got destroyed by the Titans 27-3, and the Cardinals were a bit chippy and lost to the 49ers 16-35. Starting with the Bengals, I'm going to start with some stats about Joe Burrow. He is 26 for yards, 32nd for completion percentage, 20 touchdowns, 29th for quarterback rating, all below my mate, Jones. Play your backup now. Let him recover because this isn't Joe Burrow. The Cardinals are oddly competitive, which kind of makes this game pretty fascinating, but that's not going to change who I'm picking. I'm still picking the Bengals because something has to change soon.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going the Bengals too. Look, Burrow is my favorite quarterback in the league, but he's currently the worst performing quarterback in the league. So either he has to rest the calf or take full responsibility for this disgraceful start to the season. A few more losses and the season will be gone. It's the biggest disappointment of the team so far. So just really hope he can pull it together. Otherwise, he's got to sit and recover. Cardinals, they were never really close to the 49ers, but Dobbs continues to look good. 300 total yards, 2 touchdowns. The way he's playing, could have a big, big game against the Bengals this week. I'm taking the Bengals, but that's just through faith of Burrow.
Fair enough too. The faith hopefully will come through. Moving on to the Eagles at the Rams. The Eagles beating the Commanders 34-31, and the Rams beating the Colts 29-23. Starting with Shane.
All right, so the Eagles, they needed overtime to win, but a win's a win. Just got to bank them. Hurts had a good passing day. No run game to speak of at all. But they should get that going again against the Rams this week. And Australia's team's former running back, Swift, should go over 100 yards this weekend. The Rams, they tried to throw a 23-point lead. Stafford is banged up once again. I cannot see him playing all 17 games. I'm taking the Eagles, but I can't see how much longer Stafford's going to last.
I do love every chance you get to drop in Australia's team, Detroit Lions.
That's what people are here for.
So the Eagles are 4-0, and they still don't look the best. But I have more faith in this Eagles team as they just keep rolling. They're banking the wins. They're a quality organisation. They've got some good running backs. And Jalen Hurts, I think he just keeps getting better as an actual player. As for the Rams, I can't get a read on them right now. I'm not sure if it's just me overrating Stafford and McVay for my odd fondness of Australia's team, Detroit Lions, which means somehow I like Matthew Stafford. I'm still taking the Lions, though. Now we have the Jets at the Broncos. The Jets coming off that close loss to the Chiefs 23-20, and the Broncos coming off their first win 31-28. Do we really have to talk about this game? The Jets are stuck with Wilson for a bit longer, which really sucks for the Jets because it means they're just holding off pulling the trigger on getting a quarterback that could lead them to victories. As for the Broncos, the idea that things are fine with Russ and Peyton is weird because they're sitting at 1-3 and they still look kind of crap. I am taking the Broncos in this one with no confidence whatsoever.
Jets. Zach Wilson played his best game as a pro, and if not for some questionable calls, they might have been able to beat Taylor Swift's team. He had 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, and it'll give the team confidence that they can compete with everyone. It's just whether Zach Wilson can actually fight his natural instincts like he did last game and actually be a good quarterback for once. The Broncos are so bad. They're just not quite as bad as the Bears. Wilson and Peyton have seemed to have found some middle ground, but that could all collapse if they blow this game. I'm taking the Jets.
Moving on to the Chiefs at the Vikings. The Chiefs beat the Jets 23-20, and the Vikings finally won and beat the Panthers 21-13.
And the Chiefs, they're winning by playing average football, which is a sign of a good team. And Mahomes had arguably his worst game as a pro, but he picked up crucial first downs with his legs, and they're banking wins, and there's a lot of room for improvement, which, that's all you can really ask for. Vikings, I don't know what to say about the Vikings, to be perfectly honest. Kirk Cousins is putting up a lot of numbers. It's not leading to wins. Defense sucks. They've got Cousins who throws a lot of interceptions but a lot of yards. I'm taking the Chiefs in this.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about the Vikings either. But as for the Chiefs, Mahomes played poorly in terms of the throwing game. But you're right, he was able to use his legs, which he does really effectively when it's required. And he picked up those crucial first downs. The Chiefs were also penalised for a safety that wasn't really a safety. They're like the Eagles. They're actually playing worse than the Eagles, but they're still winning. As for the Vikings, I will just say Cousins' stats are ridiculous, but they just keep turning it over. And they can't defend. I'm taking the Chiefs and thinking that they'll probably put up a big score here. Going on to the Cowboys at the 49ers. The Cowboys coming off a demolition of the Mac Jones pathetic Patriots, and the 49ers coming off their win against the Cardinals. Let's be realistic about the Cowboys. They're beating up crap teams. And the question is, can Dak throw them to victory? He couldn't even do it against the Cardinals. If he needs to throw them to victory against the 49ers, good luck. As for the 49ers, they keep rolling. They look like the best team in the league. I'm looking forward to seeing Purdy against a good defense, though. That will be the test for the 49ers. Can Purdy still continue to be as competent as he has been against one of the best defenses in the league? I'm taking the 49ers because I don't trust Dak.
The Cowboys, they had the bye this week. They got to play Mac something and Bailey Zappi. The offense, these are the biggest front runners in the league. If they only go as the defense goes, if the defense is up and about and firing, then the offense will jump on board. Can Dak get it done against an elite team? I'm saying no. Until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. Christian McCaffrey, absolutely unstoppable. 105 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 71 yards receiving with another receiving touchdown. Purdy was almost perfect, 20 from 21. And they only had to punt once. They're the best team in the NFL, and I'm taking the 49ers.
On to the last game of the round. Packers at the Raiders. The Packers lost to the Lions 34-20, and the Raiders lost to the Chargers 17-24.
They lost to the Australian team, Lions.
Sorry. They lost. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
No, we are a legit establishment, and it needs to be said. The Packers lost to Australia's team, Detroit Lions, 34-20, in what was really a much bigger scoreline than what we saw, because the Detroit Lions did not try in the last half. Go away.
Packers, they got a peak of things to come, with Australia's team primed to dominate its division for the next 27 years minimum. Love threw 2 interceptions, did absolutely nothing when the game was there to be won. They'll beat the bad teams, lose to competent teams, but lucky for them, they have a very bad team this weekend. The Raiders are horrendous. And is Aiden O'Connell already going to be their new quarterback? That was pretty much on par with what Jimmy G does. They gave up 7 sacks. They couldn't run. This team stinks. Taking the Packers.
I don't think they both stink. Well, as I said earlier, I was wrong here as well. The Packers aren't fine. They're average, but this game should be good. I don't know how the Raiders nearly beat the Chargers. Well, I do. It's Staley. That's how. I think the Raiders could actually win this, but the question is it in their best interest to beat the Packers? That's what this is going to come down to for me. It wouldn't surprise me any result in this game because I have no idea what any of these teams are capable of in terms of good and bad. I'm taking the Raiders just to be different to you. Now, we've got 4 teams on the bye this week. We've got the Browns who lost to the Ravens, 28-3. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the backup quarterback, threw 3 picks, so the bye is welcome there. The Chargers beat the Raiders 24-17, and Brandon Staley needs to buy to pick up a book called Coaching for Idiots, so hopefully he can read that. The Seahawks beat the Giants with 11 sacks, and a young team that's well coached and steady at quarterback. And the Bucs beat the Saints. Baker may have finally found his place with 3 touchdowns and 1 interception in the win. I'm enjoying the roller coaster ride that is Baker Mayfield. Do you have anything to add about those 4 teams on the bye?
Just the Seahawks. They look sensational at the moment. Probably not the time they want to have the bye, but it's always good to rest up. Whoever they have after the bye, and I should have researched that, is, they better have their offensive line ready to go.
Do you want to research it?
Nah. Minimal research, mate.
Exactly. 30 seconds. Now, for anyone that's somehow stayed with us all the time, I just wanted to talk about our little bet. The bet, we went back and forth about Mac Jones bets. Was it Mac Jones versus Daniel Jones? All these type of bets. And we settled on Mac Jones was going to throw 25 or above touchdowns for the year. Instigated by me. I came up with 25. Or me. Now, that bet's done as far as I'm concerned. The result, what would happen from the bet was either you would buy me a Mac Jones bobblehead or I would buy myself a Mac Jones bobblehead, which in reality is now humiliating for me because it's going to be the first bobblehead that I own and it's a Mac Jones one. But I just want to ask you this question. He's thrown 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, plus a fumble 6. Is that 10 touchdowns for Mac Jones?
Were each of those interceptions touchdowns?
I don't even look into that, mate. This is 30 seconds drill. Don't be silly.
I don't know. It'd be I do like.
Assuming,
I do like that he's going to put up more turnovers and touchdowns. That's pretty
if I
fun.
could include pick sixes, I'm still a chance.
So just to tack on a little bit extra to that bet, when we were talking about this, and Josh was adamant that Mac Jones wasn't the worst quarterback in his division, he actually went, he's going to throw 25 to 30 touchdowns, and I was being generous and I gave him the bottom end of that. Didn't make him split the gap. I gave him the bottom end because I was so confident. And I'm still very confident about that.
Anyway, people didn't really want to listen to us talk for more than 30 seconds. Once again, follow us on all platforms. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram for some absolute elite graphics done by yours truly. We've got our Facebook page. We've now got a TikTok page. We've got an email, which is basically like, what are you doing emailing us? Please don't, because we won't read it. And again, like, we welcome feedback, but we don't really care about it. Or 30-second drill, 30-second drill. Hope you have a good week. And I hope Mac Jones doesn't start, for goodness sakes. See you later.
And as I'm recording this time, I'm not going to let him cut us off because he once again tried to get away with mentioning the picks for the week. I am currently winning, I believe, 41 to 37. I believe that's the total. So he's trying to get away with that every week. Not going to let him. Keep him honest. Keep him true. And,
Mac Jones fault.
also, do check out the TikToks. There are some hilarious clips on there. You get a good laugh.